guy alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon By. Taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Frank from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
I know we said we weren't doing a show this week, but psych! This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of the greatest soccer club in the city of Minneapolis. That is Minneapolis City SC. I am Nate, joined as always by my own soccer kuato, John Bisworm. John, are you as pumped as I am after this member event?
Well, two things. One, what's a kuato?
Oh, you haven't seen Total Recall?
I mean, I have, but I wasn't totally recalling your your notes there. I don't know what you meant, but okay, yes,
He's
now I do.
the guy that lives in the other guy's chest.
Got it. Yep. Now I get it. So
The guy behind the guy.
yes. So to answer your question, then, now that we've wasted a minute and 30 seconds of people's lives they'll never get back, I'm pumped. I had a speaking part. Some didn't, but I did. And I thought it went well. I thought it was a good turnout. I thought that venue is always conducive to us. Mm-hmm. So I was on the microphone there on Saturday at the Stegman's anniversary party, so I was familiar with the surroundings. So it was good. It was really good. So we have a jam-packed show for y'all today, so please get your provisions, sit back, and let us take the wheel for the rest of our time together. Like we noted, the member meeting was and is now gone. We will hit on some of the highlights of that meeting if you were unable to make it. Our schedule came out, so we'll dive into that and tell you all you need to know. And our favorite verb is back with the Crows this year. Some player news was announced this week, and we have a little bit of Stegman's news. Can't lose sight of the old road that got us here. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Well, Jesus, give us the wheel, shall we, John?
We shall do this, Nate.
As you may or may not know, fine listeners, the annual member meeting was tonight, where Minneapolis City supporters gather from far and wide to rub.
It is Wednesday the 13th.
That's
in
right.
case you're wondering what tonight was,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're not like, oh my God, I missed it. No, you were there.
You might have been
just drank too many summits.
Yeah. So the members gather from far and wide to rub elbows with the likes of team ownership, players, administrators, and of course podcasters to hear about the state of the club. And if you've been following Chairman Dan Hodeman's articles on 55.1, I think it was, none of this should be news to you, but let's recap for those listeners in far off Indiana, Ohio, or Crowsboro, England even.
So we talked a good portion about on-the-field success. It's a very good thing to start with, considering that there was plenty. We went undefeated. That was definitely a point of discussion.
I may have heard that before.
Yeah, you might have heard that before. But with it brings more challenges for the future. I noted that we are actually in a position to be stronger than ever. And that just speaks to the fact that we've increased our visibility into talent through the incorporation of our U23 team and the impending U19 team that's going to be coming to us in a year. But adding on to what's coming back, I think we're going to be strong and we will compete. So definitely noted that, as well as the fact that we're everyone's biggest game. So it's not just me flapping gums here. Like, you go on social media, you go on some of the publications that cover our conference, everyone seems to circle us on their schedule. And like I noted during the meeting, people charge admission for our away games because they know people are going to come to it.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's totally true.
So it's like, of course they're going to dovetail off of our success. So I also noted too that from a player standpoint, other teams spend like tens of thousands of dollars, and I even paused and I did this. Other teams spend tens of thousands of dollars on bringing players in to play against us that aren't from Minnesota. So that to me says two things. One, we are the home for the lion's share of the best talent that Minnesota offers. And the other thing is that we have really talented players in Minnesota. If we're able to do what we did and compete how we have over the past few years, regardless of if we haven't won trophies every year, we've been the ticket in town, I guess you could say, because we're good. We're good at soccer. So I noted that, and then the player rotation. We're gonna lose players, and we just know that's a fact. And we're not losing players to the likes of frustration or finding an opportunity at our level that's better for them. Yes, you might get a little bit of that geographically where a guy lives out of state to go to college and he's like, I'm actually planning on an internship in insert city here and I'm not going to come home, so I'm going to play there. Totally get it. But the majority of our players that leave are leaving us for professional opportunities, which is fantastic because it increases our drive towards our mantra of we're developing talent, local talent, or they're going to a higher level of amateur soccer, like the old PDL. So all good things. It's all successful for us, Nate.
Absolutely, and that extends off the field. There was some talk about how our off the field success happened in the face of Osseo. We overcame Osseo, I think was what the slide said. And that means basically breaking even, losing maybe only $1,500 or something on the year. I can't remember exactly what the figure was. In spite of the huge challenge of our Wembley year in Osseo. And what that really meant was, of course, less walk-up sales. There was basically,
almost zero.
I think Dan said almost zero, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll get a few fans from the opposite team that are coming in and spending some money, but it's
parents of ball kids.
Yeah, definitely not at all what it was when we were in Minneapolis at Augsburg, and so that's something to look forward to this year. But the other reason that last year's off-field success was so great was that the team was able to spend, despite lower revenue at the gate, the team was able to spend more to support the players, and that meant more money on training facilities, more money on gear, more money on things like financial support if they couldn't afford a place to stay or they couldn't afford their league fees or this, that, and the other thing, right? But that also meant that we were able to front for the launch of the club shop, which has become sort of a niche icon for local soccer, right? There's all sorts of weird things going on at the club shop, just like there's all sorts of weird things going on with the club, and those weird things could include something like Alan Merrick's bizarre breakfast casserole, Kix casserole, all the
Scurvy
way
pie, or whatever it was.
Yep, all the way to this cool thing we're doing with the old kit, the retro kit exchange, which I think seems like it's getting a lot of traction.
Right, exactly. But drivers of success.
Yeah, what drove this on-field, off-field success is something that was really the meat of the presentation.
Number one was training facility. Adam was the one who was kind of driving this part of the discussion, but I can definitely speak to it because it's something I'm close to. So in years past, I'll just kind of go a little trip down memory lane here. In year one, we trained at Richfield High School, the senior high, and our training time was basically split by the U18 MTA boys team. So we never knew if we were going to get a half of a field or if they were out of town and we had the whole field, or in some instances the U16s and the U18s would train at the same time and we would get the area behind the goal. And we were supposed to successfully train, 26 to 30 guys in a small area.
Yeah.
It just didn't work. And then come to year 2, we trained at Hopkins High School, and with that, we ran into there was a men's league game that would always be at 6:00, and we would train at 8. If that men's league game ever got, ever had to run over, there was an injury or they just got a late start. That meant that we got a late start, and the lights went off at 11. Oh. So we'd have truncated time. Sometimes we didn't have adequate time to warm up because we were against the clock. So there was that. And then you come into weather as a factor. And how many times in the summers in Minnesota is it absolutely gorgeous, or it's like a typhoon level 10 rainstorm where we only train twice a week, so we have to train, and we have a game in a day or two, and we have to prepare for it. So,
well, not only that, but getting ready for the season, like you have to start practicing in April.
Right.
And if I remember right, we got a massive blizzard in the middle of April last year.
Right, exactly. And it knocked out our Bug Eaters preseason friendly.
Yep.
Because it was scheduled outside. So the training facility, we chose to move indoors. We train up in Eden Prairie, right down the road from me, which is kind of nice, at Champions Hall. We basically own the whole place. So both teams, U23 and MPSL team, train together, and that adds its own benefits that I don't need to really get into. I think you can kind of figure that out yourself. But having all the talent in one place where it's guaranteed ours every week, twice a week, no weather delays, no weird men's league game happening. It was all ours. And that meant that we were regularly together and we were seeing each other often. And it was pricey, but it was totally worth it. And I already mentioned before, the U23 team, we've talked about it so many times on this show. It just amps up our talent pool, and training together shows those players what they need to do to get to the next level, because we regularly played each other. The U23 team would run kind of a scout offense and defense against our NPSL team, depending upon who we were playing that week. And it was just so beneficial. Also, our training staff, we have a professional grade trainer in David Bloomquist at TCO, and he is able to provide a level of care for our players, not just injury related, but also from a kinesiology perspective, to use a big word. He does all of our warm-ups and all of our cool downs, and he prepares our players to be athletic and not just have guys running through just, half-ass stretching and things like that. So that's a huge thing. And with all the injuries that hit us last year, to be able to get players back onto the field as quickly as he did, it's so beneficial. And he's an former MLS trainer. So we're getting the top of the top when it comes to taking care of our players.
Yeah.
And that in itself is also a selling point for when I go out and recruit. College coaches don't want their guys coming back dinged up. If David says a guy can't play or his timetable is X, we listen to him, and we don't let a player put his cleats on to train unless he gives us the go ahead. So, and then lastly, faith in our coaches. It's not normal to give it that much attention when you're not getting paid. And like I noted in the presentation tonight, was that all of them are professional coaches. That is how they make a living for themselves and their family. So we're getting top level training from our coaches for our players. It's well thought out. I see all the sessions before we actually get there, so I see it, and it's done so. If you were a professional, it's not like, oh, we're just gonna get a couple guys together and kick around. So it's well thought out, and it drives towards a goal for the week, the month, whatever, the year, and we're constantly manipulating things based off of need, but they're well thought out manipulations. So all of that, I think, just puts us in the speed lane for success.
Totally. But the meeting wasn't really entirely about how great we are and what the last year's brought us. There was, the club did touch at the end on some things that they are thinking about in the future. And the very first thing that Dan addressed was a women's team. I know there's been a lot of chatter about founding a Minneapolis City women's club. And I think Dan's stance on this and the club's stance on this that he made really clear was, we will do that, or the club will do that when they have resources to do that, right? They want to make sure that they have $90,000 out of the budget every year to spend on a women's team. And before that, it just can't be considered because they don't want to give it whatever, third or fourth billing I guess, in our organization when it comes to making sure that everything else is paid for, and then when we're at it, the women's team can come last. They don't want to operate the women's team on a shoestring budget, that sort of thing. So I think that's a pretty good philosophy. I think it'd be nicer to have a women's team faster, but
we learned a little bit about that process when we talked to Jonathan from Little Rock, where he was like, I run into situations that I never run into on the men's side. Like, he can't go into the locker room. He can't, given our climate, to be sensitive to things. Like, he's not going up and putting his arm around a player because the perception might be taken out of context. And you know what I mean? So there's different challenges that also come along with that as well. But I think all in all, Dan hit on it correctly, that we're very much so do it right the first time people and make adjustments after, instead of do it wrong and make massive adjustments after.
Right. And the other thing they talked about was potentially being able to hire a full-time employee, like somebody that could get paid as a stretch goal to do nothing but Minneapolis City stuff. Like, that's all you think about day in, day out. And you work 9 to 5 solely on Minneapolis City instead of relying on over-dedicated network of volunteers. Paying coaches would also be a great thing for the future. And then finally, of course, he touched on a place to call home. Really what it would involve to get a Minneapolis City dedicated facility. What it would get to secure the land, what it would get to get that space built. And it was all, very far out is kind of where we came out after that. But it's still something the team is constantly thinking about and always keeping their eye open for. So I think everything that we talked about tonight really just proves one thing, and that is that running a lower league soccer club is really, really, really hard. And it just is not possible without the dedication of a great group of people like you, John, like Dan, like Sarah, the commitment of the coaching staff, and of course the commitment of the players, but really the support of the community. I think on this very show, we have talked to owners who think that semi-pro club success is just about throwing money at the thing. And for example, to our south and our west, a certain super rich owner is finding out that money doesn't really buy you things like the relationships that let you find stadiums when you need them.
Especially when you don't live there.
Yeah, no shit. So thank you to everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who has made this team something that I believe I'll be able to look forward to watching for years to come.
That's the hope, Nate.
Whoop, whoop. So let's get into the this year to come, John, with the mailing of member kits that came out. Minneapolis City's NPSL schedule is finally public. It's set in stone. John, give us the rundown.
I would say it's more set in wet concrete.
Yeah, it's a little pliable.
There's some
Pliant.
Yeah, it hasn't completely set, but it's the foundation is there. So I'll do just a real quick rundown of dates and opponents. So we kick off the regular season. There will be some preseason things that will be announced as we get those locked up. More to come on that. But regular season, May 11th, home Dakota Fusion. May 17th, home against Eris. May 24th, home against Sioux Falls. May 29th, away at Twin Stars. June 1st, home at Duluth. June 5th, away Med City. June 8th, home non-conference against the Des Moines Wanderers of the UPSL. June 15th, away at Eris. June 19th, away at Dakota. June 22nd, home against Twin Stars. June 29th, away at Sioux Falls. July 6th, away at Duluth. So make your 4th of July weekend plans for that one.
Mm-hmm.
July 12th, home against Med City. That concludes our regular season, and then there'll be potential playoffs in there if we do our jobs. July 20th, there'll be a friendly against the Rochester FC, the new UPSL team, and July 27th, home against the Bug Eaters. August 3rd, home against Union Dubuque of the UPSL. So a packed summer, Nate.
For sure. And the first thing that your eyes go to when you take a gander at this big, beautiful schedule is the sheer size of it, John. It's got girth. We knew that without VSLT, the NPSL North schedule is 2 games shorter, but it looks like City has made up for it by scheduling 4 home friendlies at this point, which means 3 more games than we would have had if VSLT even stayed in the league. So if you were a member, that's just great value. And the second thing to note is the relative ease with which we start the season. You look at that home stretch against the bottom 3 finishers last year, and that's about as good as it gets to start the season, isn't it? Especially if we end up having to work out some kinks, or if we won't be at full strength until certain players return from school. Like, that's a pretty solid setup to start the season at home against the Fusion, who turned out to be a total dumpster fire last year, Eris, and then Sioux Falls.
Well, you never know, Nate.
Never know. I mean, we did not have optimal results against both Eris and Sioux Falls, but still.
Right, but I mean, on paper, if you look at last year as your barometer, your measuring stick, if you will, it looks like a ideal setup for us. I mean, regardless of who we play against, to start your season with 3 straight home matches is crucial.
Sweet. Because
we're in the comfy confines of Edor Nelson Field, so we don't have to hop in a rental van and go someplace. So the legs will be less tired, the energy will be up, and it's our energy that we control versus going to energy that is against us and we can't control.
Yeah, exactly. So if you mentioned it, John, if people are going to plan an epic city summer holiday road trip, unfortunately Memorial Day is away at Twin Sharts, so that's not an exciting trip. But that July 6th Duluth game looks like it's going to be rad. Like, get your party cabins reserved.
Right, exactly. Maybe we'll finally get our family-friendly, bring all your kids shore house that we've been talking about for 3 years.
That would be awesome.
Just pack everybody in like a hippie commune.
Just never mind. And then if you're looking for like an extra special home game to attend, you got to recommend the July 12th regular season final against Med City, because it's going to be my birthday and I will be turned up to 11. But let's quick talk about those 4 non-conference games, John, on the schedule. I feel like are they good opportunities to call up some U23 players, or do you really just plan to use them as like 100% U23 games at this point?
I think it'll be a little bit of A, a little bit of B. It'll all depend on our scenarios. The one that happens earlier up in the season, which is the Des Moines Wanderers game on June 8th.
Yeah.
That to me is more of, let's throw some of the U23 guys into the mix and see what we can call up that will be serviceable for if we run into any issues. Mm-hmm. So that one I would see more of a mixture. The other ones really just depend on whether or not we make the playoffs and we make a deep run. But also we have to think about, Nate, that people forget is guys going back to school, right? So
yep,
we may not be afforded the opportunity to have the straight U23 team play in those games because of the fact that guys won't be there.
That's fair. But also, like, there are some guys that are coming back late in the summer, like we know, that are studying abroad and things like that might really want those minutes and want those reps, even if the season is over.
Right, exactly. So that'll all be TBD, but either way, it'll be fun soccer.
That's for sure. So last week you mentioned a potential U23 matchup against the Green Bay Voyagers. Tonight it sounded like there was some tease. It was teased out at the member meeting that the U23 schedule was not even close to being set, that the coaches are still working on that, and it is going to be fire emoji. When do you think we can expect that? And how many more U23 games do you feel like are yet to be announced that would make this schedule even more robust and a greater deal for the members?
We're looking at 14 games right now. total. So that'll be probably 6 away, maybe
just
15,
for the U23s.
just for the U23s, and then eight at home.
Damn.
And there could be a potential of us having 16 games.
And those are all hopefully going to take place at Augsburg, or?
We're still working on that. Our rental is only for the NPSL, so I don't anticipate us being up in Osseo, but we're working on that. It's a little, as you know, field location is hard for us to find, so you get less of a run on things when people look at us from an NPSL perspective as that's a big draw for my facility versus the U23s. So there's more to come on that, including some further talk about playing against the Green Bay Voyagers.
But also, I think the good news is that with a U23 game, the requirements to host a game are out the window. Like, there are certain things we need to make sure we're checking the box on with NPSL that you don't necessarily have to with a friendly.
Right, exactly. So more to come on that.
Cool. So there we go. No game-by-game breakdown tonight, but for now, this should be enough to get everyone licking your chops for that sweet, sweet city soccer that is that's on the way.
And I mentioned it before, and I'll say it again. I mentioned it tonight, but there's no reason to not get out to the U23 games that are in town. No. That team is loaded so far before we get all of our commitments signed, and then we need to kind of plug some holes on people that don't end up making the team or commit to the team. So I would implore everyone to, once that schedule comes out, to really look at it and make your way to at least one of the games, but more than one.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. And if you're interested in seeing the Minneapolis City players of the future, that's where to go, because these guys are going to get called up through the course of the season. They're going to end up on the team next year. You never know how the chips are going to fall. I think we've probably got 4 to 5 players that are probably going to make the roster this year for the NPSL that were U23 regulars.
Right, exactly. So enough about that. We continue to roll out news, and we have player signings. And one player in particular that is going to play with us this season, and fans of the show know that this is the one player that lives very close to our hearts, Nate. We have transformed his last name into a verb that aligns with the fire he provides when he steps on the pitch. We are speaking about the Kevin Hoof.
Oh, everyone's going to get hoofed again.
Yeah, everyone's going to get hoofed again. So Kevin has played 12 matches for City, logging just over 630 minutes. No goals, no assists, but he is a Northern Michigan University product by way of Maple Grove, and he is one player that may have benefited the most from being part of our system since joining us after his freshman year in high school, or in college, and immediately linking up with City and then our affiliate club Stegman's to get more minutes. So that perfect cocktail of soccer that we could provide prepared him for the next 3 seasons at school, where he was voted all GLIAC multiple times and then all Midwest region, along with being the only the school's first player ever signed in the new program and a 3-year captain. Kevin is one of the nicest kids on the planet, but do not let that fool you. He gets stuck in. He's an all-around player that can be deployed across the back line or the midfield. And last year, we know was his gap year away from us because he spent the summer up at school to get that much closer to graduation. But this year he is back with diploma in hand, and we could not be happier. And fun fact, he actually used to play club soccer as a youth for newly appointed city manager Matt Van Benskoten.
The young youths. Well, I think personally I'm going to be interested to see where Kevin lands on the depth chart this year. I think last year it was Aaron Olson, it was Charlie Adams, it was Abdallah Blah. They really had that right back, left back position covered from week to week. But like you said, Hoof's experience at Minneapolis City and then at school has really served him well, and I think there's going to be a lot of surprises in store for where he's deployed on the pitch by the new head coach. There's a lot of versatility that he's picked up, I think. I think he's obviously, as a 3-year captain, there's a ton of maturity that he can bring to the pitch, and it might be that he plays in a position that we have not quite seen him yet for Minneapolis City.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's deployed back to where Coach Van Benscoten used to put him in the old days.
As a little baby.
As a baby hoof. So, along with our player news, in related news, it was announced this week on Twitter that over the weekend, Daniel Warner was promoted to president of City Affiliate Club Stegman Soccer Club. So, big congrats to Mr. Warner. He's been with the club for the past 7 years, and this past season was elevated to be in charge of the competitive arm of the club. He's got a tireless work ethic, and he's able to deliver, which is usually our issue. So he's able to deliver when given responsibility, and gives us really no choice than to elevate him to the club's highest role. And as the three founders whom you heard on this here show's 100th episode are moving on in life with families and kids, it's important for us to not only get younger on the field, but also as originals age out of the club from a playing perspective, promote youth to leadership roles from that perspective. So that gives the club an even stronger link from a city perspective that we've had in the past. He was involved in the coaching staff, a role there in our U.S. Open Cup runs in the past, and he's been a part of City's list of club doers for the past 3 seasons. So it only strengthens us from both sides of the coin by elevating him. So many congratulations to Mr. Warner.
Yeah, hats off to Dan. I talked to him tonight, and he was pretty typically humble, as he always is, about the whole thing. He played it off like it's no big deal, like it's not really a ton of extra responsibility or anything. But I think the more it feels like it's a ton. The more the organization grows, I think the less attention that you guys, and I mean you, Dan, Nick, are going to be able to pay to the day-to-day operation of this club. So it is really good to hear as a supporter and as a fan that the club is identifying the next generation of front office staff out of your pool of players, out of people that really know the organization in and out, that know the players really well, that have those relationships already. Developing your own, I guess, like Michael Arteta or whoever, if Michael Arteta didn't then go and coach for Manchester City.
Well, I mean, look at all the players at United. You know, they have a fairly famous one and on top of the news pile right now. But I mean, you look at what the class of '92's done at Salford. Like, it just makes sense to promote within when it's right. When you need to replace people in your organization from your player pool that's no longer playing for you. So yeah, it makes total sense. So. More to come on more promotions as we get to that point.
The club's gonna grow and people are gonna keep rising.
Yep. Plant the seeds, sprinkle the water, grow a sunflower.
Beautiful.
So, thus ends tonight's surprise show. Thank you, as always, to our sponsor, Summit Brewing. Summit's Rathskeller Reserve boxes in stores now, featuring revived beers originally brewed and released in the tap room for a very, very limited few. This is going to be going away soon, Nate. So everyone, go out and buy one. If you like your drinking experience to open your eyes to the mysteries of the universe, clearly we know who wrote that. Pick up a box today. Summit, a more meaningful brew since 1986. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that gives back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides a safe, reliable, fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game. Look for us this summer out playing with kids in parks and community centers, and consider a tax-deductible donation to a truly city-focused organization. Hey, Minneapolis City released their schedule. We talked a little bit about it, and it is packed. Now is the right time to grab your membership. The best deal in soccer in town, maybe ever. For only $80, you get at least 10 home games. Not to mention the yet-to-be-released and announced U23 games, a membership scarf, a membership card that not only gets you into games, but gets you deals at Summit's official bar for game days, Palmer's. Visit mplscitysc.com and make it happen.
Those deals are available all the time. We found that out tonight. That you can walk into Palmer's right now and get a deal on Summit.
Perfect. I love it when a plan comes together, Nate. Mm-hmm. Send us mail. It's easy. Hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch or through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, you hit the club at mplscitysc.com. That is all for this week. We once again leave you with our house MC, Miles Stockman-Willis, a.k.a. Milays. I am John. That is Nate. Go out and get some games this year and say hi to the citizens. And as always, more importantly this week, you got hoofed.
I see the real you, yeah, boo, I found you. So don't ever frown when loneliness is around you. I'ma show you that someone should crown you, not clown you, but pursue virtue would never hurt you. Critical in distance, touch is digital, biblical. Till death, love is unconditional. Telling us we're a team and not two individuals. For you, I give my spleen, the spiritual and the physical. Loving what is fragile isn't always fixable, but I see what's invisible. See it with vexed visuals. Grab my hand, hold it. We gon' think the unthinkable. I promise we will float, that our boat's unsinkable. I promise I'ma drown in you, let you drown in me. Reveal the recipe, you I love to overfeed. I love it. Let's proceed slowly, not go bad like moldy. Ravioli, rigatoni. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Free. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Temptation's about to give in, but I'm staying true. If I sin, may I be forgiven for a few. What we got to lose? Nothing. You just gotta listen. Such a good girl. Great. Just made a bad decision. One and done. She looking fine. Nothing missing. But got my hands tied like I'm the villain. Evil only swallows pride, but I'm sometimes kidding. Finger licker kitty after feed the kittens. Cute shit. Kiss me softer than a baby's grip. New sense of high when she bites her lower lip. If she quit, make my heart skip, then snip. When we're together like ice cream mixed with some mint pepper. Shawty had to rescue my respiratory. Wants a man who's a man, that is mandatory. Only without her off the pad, like I never met with Dory. Help her write her story, take the qualms out her quarry. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Selfie Thomas as the rollie. Always be my plus one. Shawty is my bogey. In it for the long haul, not for the trophy. Every day, feeling greater than Tony. Falling for her, and I think she falling for me too. I hope falling like two V's, make a W. Type of dude to build you up and make the rubble move. Type of dude to have my phone out all in front of you. Only cause you got my back. Presence always sets the mood. Never starts any trouble without any proof. No problems if there was, make the puzzle poof. Laugh it off. Goofballs, you should see the spoof. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall. Free. Girl, I'm free falling for you. Still, temptation follows free. Just tell me when you fall for me, please. Just tell me when you fall.